It's time for another edition of the Mineral Way every Monday afternoon. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs and I get on the air and answer your questions. It's mostly him that answers your questions at 831-479-1080, 218-5726. That's the text line, kscodave@gmail.com, and questions at themineralway.com. That's questions at themineralway.com. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs joining me this afternoon. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good. What was that thing that they just aired that said if they're not the position of this radio station and you got to complain? And
well, we do that for legal reasons. No one listens to that. Just forget it. Forget what
well,
that
I
guy
got good
said.
news today.
Yes, what is it, Ben?
Those really aren't holes in Kim Kardashian's brain.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I didn't know. No.
Isn't that exciting? Those really aren't holes. That's according to my let's see here, MedMD, which is a website I subscribe to. I bet you don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, do you?
I don't know what you're talking about,
Those
Ben.
really are not holes. And Kim Kardashian, you know who she is, right?
Yes, I know who she is, yes.
She had a brain scan done just to see what her brain looked like, and apparently they found a bunch of holes.
Are you pulling my leg here,
I'm reading
Ben?
right here. No, this is the headline. No,
Okay.
those aren't really holes in Kim Kardashian's brain. That's what happened. The holes in Kim Kardashian, I'm going to read this for you. The holes that Kim Kardashian's doctor said he saw on the reality star's brain scan are not really holes, and they caution that otherwise healthy people should not rush out and get brain scans. Apparently, Kim Kardashian underwent a brain scan to see what her brain looks like.
Was there some concern that her brain might not be there or might be missing?
No, she thought she had an aneurysm.
Oh, that's nothing to joke about, Ben.
When the blood vessels burst,
Yikes.
and they found some holes there, but those aren't really holes. And I was very, very sad when she said that. I was very bummed, and I was very happy to hear that they weren't holes. I thought you'd be happy too. You don't seem to care.
Oh well, I mean.
No, that's not very nice. If it was,
I do care, Ben.
What's that?
I do care. Well, I don't want anybody to have a hole in their brain.
Yeah, well, you don't sound like you care. Anyway,
what's that supposed to mean, Ben? You can't read my mind.
I know, but you sounded cold about that. When you're a loving guy, I was a little surprised.
I am a loving guy.
Anyway, next story.
I'm ashamed of myself.
Next story is apparently eczema, or atopic dermatitis, as it's technically known as, is related to OCD.
What does that mean? How can that be?
How can that be, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. Like, what the heck do those two things have in common?
Right.
And I think that's a really important point because when you have two health challenges at the same time, that's called a comorbidity. Have you heard that term? Comorbidity?
I have, yes.
Comorbidity is when you have two things going wrong at the same time. And that gives you a lot of clues to the overriding condition. See, our medical model likes to zoom in on the specific place where they see a problem. So you have a rash, you go to the dermatologist, they focus on the skin. Or in this case, eczema or dermatitis, they focus on the skin. You have mental confusion or OCD or some psychiatric issue, you go to a psychiatrist, they focus on that. You have heart disease, they focus on your heart. You have movement disorder, they focus on the brain or the nervous system. And the point is you can't treat a condition from the place where you see the condition. You have to go upstream. And the best way to go upstream and to figure out what's going on in the body is to what I call triangulation.
Okay.
Do you ever hear of this guy Bob Ross, this painter Bob Ross?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right? So Bob Ross is amazing. I don't even know if he's still on. I don't even know if he's still alive, really. But when I was a kid, I used to watch him all the time, right? He would take a canvas and he would put a line in the middle of the canvas, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, okay, that's a line. What's going on there? And then he put another line. I say, okay, there's two lines there. What's going on? Then he put a third line, and all of a sudden you say, oh my gosh, that's a river. And then a fourth line, you say, oh wow, that's a landscape. Oh, that's a tree. Another line, there's a mountain. There's another line, there's the sky, et cetera, et cetera. As he's putting lines on the canvas, a picture starts to emerge. One line, you can't tell you anything. Two lines, you can't tell anything. But three lines, you start to see pictures. And 4 and 5 and 6 lines, you start to see a real vivid picture. So what's this got to do with what we're talking about here, with health and with assessing what's going on in the body? You need lines. You can't take care of a condition just by seeing one line any more than you can see a picture on a canvas by some guy drawing a line. You got to have multiple lines. You can have multiple places so you can at least have 3 to triangulate to see what's going on in the body. So when people call up sometimes, and we get all these calls from people, and on Coast to Coast and other shows we do, we get calls. They'll say, "Oh, I've got atrial fibrillation." That's a real common one, right? You can't do anything about just atrial fibrillation until you start to see pieces. Well, atrial fibrillation is not necessarily a good example because we do know what causes atrial fibrillation. But I see weird things that grow on the skin, or I hear about weird pains, or I hear about strange eye problems. In order to really address, for example, a strange eye problem, say you've got fuzzy vision, so you can't see correctly.
Okay.
You got to have multiple points. You got to see what's going on. Most people just go to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor will give them steroids. And that doesn't help. That suppresses the symptoms, but it doesn't change the condition, the condition of the body that led to the symptom. So you got to find multiple points of breakdown in the body so you can form a picture. So a picture can emerge of what's happening in order to really treat a condition. And that's the problem with our medical model. All it does is focus on one part of the body, the part of the body it sees. So we have a skin problem, we go to a dermatologist. We got a heart problem, we go to a cardiologist. Got an allergy problem, we go to immunologist. Got a brain problem, you go to a neurologist. You got a female health issue, you go to a OBGYN. You've got a hormone problem, you go to an endocrinologist. See what I'm saying? We go to specific health practitioners who focus on one part of the body. Mm-hmm. But the body is a system. Everything is connected to everything else. And in a nutshell, that's why our medical model is a total and complete failure for treating chronic degenerative disease, that is. It doesn't treat the body systemically. The reason why nutrients and nutritional supplementation is so valuable as opposed to prescription drugs is because nutritional supplements treat the whole system. They don't just treat the heart or the brain or the nervous system or the digestive system or whatever kind of system. If you go to the doctor for a prostate problem, you'll get a drug for the prostate. But if you come to longevity for a prostate problem, you'll get zinc, you'll get omega-3 fatty acids, you'll get selenium, which will help the entire system, not just the prostate. And this is why what we call alternative, I hate that term because it shouldn't be alternative, but what we all call alternative therapy using nutritional supplementation is so superior for dealing with chronic degenerative diseases because it treats the entire system. And that's how we want to look at our chronic health challenges, as a systemic breakdown, not as a breakdown in a specific part of the body, but as a breakdown in the entire system. And so, to use our favorite whipping post here, or is that the right word? Our favorite scapegoat. I don't know what the right word is, but our favorite scapegoat, cholesterol, right?
Oh.
Right? The cholesterol thing. Everybody wants to treat cholesterol by lowering your cholesterol if you go to the doctor, right? In fact, I was at a party. I hate when I go to events, social events, and I have to talk about health because sometimes people are so sure about things that I don't want to be the guy that says you're full of baloney.
Right.
Because they talk to you and they're friends with them and they bond with you, and then all of a sudden this lady was saying to me, my husband, I was really connecting with her and her husband, and she says, my husband refuses to take his cholesterol medication. Can you believe that? And of course,
what do you say?
Right, what am I going to say? So I kind of didn't say anything. But the point is she just totally believes. She doesn't listen to our Zoom calls or she's not part of the longevity family. She's just some gal I met at a party. And so what do you say to somebody like that? I have to then go into the whole thing about cholesterol and blood sugar, and you don't want to take this down. No, I can't do that, but that's how most people think of it. You check this out. Do you ever wonder, I don't know if I'm not sure if we talked about this last week. Do you ever wonder why cholesterol deposits only occur in the arteries and not in the veins?
I have never thought about that, Ben. Right? I never stopped to think about that.
Think about it. The circulatory system is a circle, right? It goes from the heart, and then it goes downstream, and goes to all the parts of the body, and then comes back up to the heart, like a big circle, right?
Right.
Cholesterol deposits, the blockages that they give you the statin drugs for, right? That this lady was, my husband's not taking the statin drugs. Cholesterol blockages only occur at the top of the circle, the arteries. The top of the near the heart. Why is it they don't occur on the other side of the circle?
I don't know, Ben.
Yeah, isn't it interesting, huh?
Yeah. Well, you're going to tell me?
I'll tell you the reason.
Okay.
And it'll make perfect sense. And then you'll see how just complete the utter biochemical ignorance of using statin drugs to suppress or to protect the heart is when I tell you.
Wow.
Ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
But first of all, you understand that's an interesting question, right? Why would it occur just the front end, not the back end? All right. So the front end of the circulatory system next to the heart is under a lot more pressure than the back end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you got more pressure towards the heart. The heart
Right.
pumps, you get more pressure,
Right.
and then as the blood circulates in the big circle on the second half or the upstream half or the upper part of the circle, you don't really have a lot of pressure. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following
Okay.
you, Ben.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. So the heart beats, the blood flows from the heart down through the arteries and then comes back up the veins, but the high pressure is going to be closer to where the pump is,
Okay.
right? The cholesterol that blocks the arteries don't you think that it would have something to do with the fact that there's higher pressure?
I would think so. That's kind of what.
Right, because what's the difference between the top end and the bottom end? Just the pressure. What's the difference between the front of the circle and the back of the circle? Just the pressure. The pressure is higher near the heart, which tells you that you're more likely to have damage to the vessels near the heart than away from the heart because the pressure's higher. Make sense so
Yeah.
far?
Yeah.
All right. Cholesterol is in the arterial side of the circulatory system because there's more damage at the top end than the back end. Meaning the cholesterol deposits are a Band-Aid. They're the way the body patches up the blood vessels. You follow me?
Yes.
What we call blockages are not the fault of too much cholesterol. That's idiotic. If you're a doctor out there listening to this, that's idiotic. That's stupidity. The cholesterol, the deposits and the blockages are not because there's too much cholesterol, but because the vessels are weak and the blood is sticky and toxic. You follow me? So the answer is not to suppress cholesterol, which is an incredibly important molecule for cells, for the nervous system, for the immune system, for steroid hormones, for bile, for vitamin D. It's endless, really. It's the most important, arguably, the most important molecule in the body. The answer is not to shut down cholesterol. The answer is to figure out what's going wrong systemically that's causing the blood vessels to break down. What happens when the blood is, we always talk about dirty blood, right? Hypercoagulable blood.
Right.
When the blood is really sticky and thick and viscous and has a tendency to clot, and the heart is pumping, that sticky blood damages the lining of the vessels. The vessels are like a tube, right? Like a garden hose. And the inner part of the garden hose, the inner lining, if you will, that's called the endothelium. Endo means inside, thelium means surface. The inner surface of the vessel, the endothelium, gets damaged. And when the endothelium is damaged, or specifically the endothelial cells, is this making sense? I don't want to get too wonky here.
It's making sense.
Okay.
Ben.
So when the endothelial cells get damaged, they send out a signal. This is how the body works. This is how cells work. This is how everything's coordinated. They're signaling. So these damaged cells in the lining of the vessels, they send out a signal that says, hey, we need a patch. We need a Band-Aid. There's a weakness here. And in return, this is really kind of cool too. In response to that signal, the body will send out little carriers that carry cholesterol. And those carriers that carry cholesterol will deposit the cholesterol in the endothelium to patch it up. And the more breakages you have, the more damage you have, the more signals you have, the more cholesterol you're going to have, the more blockage you're going to have. Are you with me?
Yes.
And the blockages are not the fault of too much cholesterol, they're the fault of the damage. And to make matters worse, guess what the carriers of the cholesterol are that respond to those signals?
What?
LDL, the stuff they want to suppress, the so-called bad cholesterol. You see this, how it's stupidity on top of stupidity. And it's all because we don't understand what's happening with our bodies. Did all that whole thing make sense? I know it was a little bit technical.
It did. Yes,
right?
Ben,
You
it
get
makes
damage
sense.
to the vessels, signals go out, LDL comes to the damaged tissue, deposits its cholesterol, you get a block. Or a little bit's okay, but the more it happens, the more blockages you have. So if you're really interested in protecting your heart, it's not a statin drug you need. It's nutrition that supports the blood, and it's nutrition that supports the endothelium. And that is the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. That's the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. That's the digestive support supplements, the Fucoid Z. Where do you get those? You don't get them from the pharmacy. You don't get them from your doctor or your pharmacist. You get them from longevity. You get them from what I call God's medicine, God's pharmacy, God's pharmacopoeia. And that's what we got to focus on, but we don't. We focus on the part we see. So you go to the doctor, he says you got a blockage. Take a statin drug. He doesn't see the whole mechanism, and it's not his fault really, because that's not his job. It's our fault for asking him to do something that he's not really equipped to do. That's our problem. My point being is there's not any health challenge that doesn't have a cause that can be addressed. None. Not movement disorders, not cardiovascular disorders, not skin disorders, not digestive disorders, not nothing. Not cancer, not heart disease, not diabetes. Everything has a cause, which means everything can be solved if you do it correctly. But we know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You got to change the way we look at things. Yeah, I think we talked about hypertension last week, didn't we? High blood pressure?
Yes, I
essential hypertension, right?
Mm-hmm.
For people who weren't listening, and repetition is reinforcement if you were listening. When the blood does not deliver, when the blood becomes sticky and coagulated, I call dirty blood, whatever term you want to use. Is that fair to say?
I think it's very descriptive, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So when the blood becomes dirty, it doesn't circulate as well. That's a big problem because the blood delivers oxygen and nutrition. And they're both important, but oxygen is extra important. That's the most important. You can't go 3 minutes without oxygen. And so the brain is constantly reading the oxygen levels of the organs and the tissues, and when it sees the oxygen levels drop, it turns up the pressure. That's called hypertension. And when you go to the doctor, they'll call it essential hypertension, meaning there's no cause for it. Why? Because they're not looking upstream. They're just saying, hey, what the heck? You look fine. What the heck's up? You have high blood pressure. They're not seeing that the blood is viscous and sticky and coagulating and toxic and i.e. dirty. And so when you take a beta blocker or a calcium channel blocker, and by the way, when they say blocker, that's kind of a euphemism. They might as well say poison, alpha poison, or beta or calcium channel poison, or beta channel poison instead of blocker. It makes it sound more descriptive what it really is. It's the exact opposite of what the body wants to do. The body wants the pressure higher. The brain wants the pressure higher so you can get more oxygen, so you get more nutrition, more detoxification. And what do? We turn down the pressure. We do the exact opposite, and nobody knows how much toxicity or adverse reactions, how many adverse reactions are caused by the fact that the body's trying to deliver oxygen and we're shutting it down. And that won't even show up as a side effect or toxicity. That'll just show up as an early death. Or it may show up as some long-term chronic disease, and we're not going to make that connection. The point is when you violate the body's natural wisdom, which is exactly what pharmacy does, when you violate the body's natural wisdom, you will pay the price. So anybody out there on a statin drug, they're not the most deadly drugs in the world, certainly not as bad as the calcium channel blockers or the beta blockers, but A, you're not solving the problem, which is the damaged endothelia or the weakened endothelia, and B, you're going to be dealing with what we say in the business, the sequelae or the sequel or the secondary effects of suppressing your cholesterol production. There's no way to get around it. There's no way to get around it. If you're a doctor out there or a pharmacist or a patient, there's no way to get around the fact that when you take a prescription drug, you're doing the opposite of what the body wants to have happen. Now, I'm not a fan of prescription drugs, and I'm educated in prescription medicine, and that's why I'm not a fan. Nobody's better positioned than myself or other pharmacists to understand how toxic and nasty these drugs are. I'm not a fan of them, but the exception in my mind is pain pills, because I've been in pain. I don't know if you've ever had a pain pill, when you were in pain, dental pain or back pain.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
for sure.
Man, they're miraculous. But other than that, if you're on a prescription drug chronically, i.e. for the rest of your life, your number one health challenge should be to get off of it. And the reason this is important, Dave, and everybody listening, is because we have been hoodwinked. We've been programmed. We've been hypnotized. We've been conditioned to believe that when we're sick, there's a drug for that. There used to be a commercial. There's an app for that. You ever hear that commercial? There's an app for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a drug for that. We're conditioned to believe that. And what I'm here to tell you, and Dave, and Dr. Wallach, and all the folks at Longevity, that's a lie. But there is a nutritional supplementation program that you can get put on, that we can help you do, and that very likely has a system or a pack already in place if it's a common condition like a digestive condition or a heart condition or a connective tissue issue or diabetes. There's a very good chance that there's an entire system, an entire pack already created for you. And if you're dealing with a health challenge out there, give us a call and we'll help put you on a program.
Great idea, Ben. I like it. Tell you what, Ben, we should take our break now because it's just about the bottom of the hour. We might be a little bit early, but that's okay. We'll take our break now. When we get back, we'll answer some emails and text messages and all that good stuff. So keep it tuned in.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. Yeah, we got a 2-minute break coming up. We'll be right back. This is The Mineral Way. We're here live every Monday, 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, ready to answer your questions. 831-479-1080 is the phone number. 831-218-5726 with your text messages. Questions at themineralway.com with your emails. We'll be right back.
Buster, is that you? You're moving like a pup on espresso. What gives?
Thanks. Just keeping up with my routine. Some light jogs, a few unauthorized trash inspections, and started taking Arthrodex.
Arthrodex? Is that one of those new chew toys with Bluetooth?
Nah, it's a supplement from Longevity. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, even stuff to keep my joints moving like they used to.
So, it's like a multivitamin, but it actually tastes good?
Exactly. My coat's shinier, I'm springier than ever, and the stairs don't mock me anymore.
Man, I've been getting winded halfway through Squirrel Patrol.
Tell your human to go to themineralway.com. That's where mine gets it. Easy peasy.
Done. I'm one biscuit away from entering the Zoomy Olympics.
Give your pets the nutritional support they deserve with Arthrodex from Longevity, because staying active, happy, and healthy never goes out of style. Available now at themineralway.com. Are you looking for a natural way to support healthy circulation without drugs? Meet Ultimate Daily Classic. Ultimate Daily Classic is an easy-to-take tablet designed to work with your body by gently dilating blood vessels, helping blood flow more freely. And better circulation means better support for your eyes, better support for your liver, better support for your kidneys, and better overall cardiovascular wellness. And when nutrients and oxygen move where they're needed, every organ in your body can function at its best. And the beauty of Ultimate Daily Classic is its simplicity. No complicated routines, no long list of side effects. Just a clean, powerful blend of vitamins, minerals, and plant-based ingredients that help keep your circulation flowing, your energy steady, and your health on track. Try Ultimate Daily Classic today. To order, visit themineralway.com. That's themineralway.com. The fast, simple, trusted way to shop.
Eight 831-479-1080, 218-5726, kscodave@gmail.com, questions at themineralway.com. Any of those ways will suffice. Any of those ways will work to get your question to us, and we will answer them. And by we, I mean he, pharmacist Ben Fuchs, the world-famous pharmacist Ben Fuchs. You're famous, Ben.
Famous?
Oh, yeah, dude, totally.
Famous?
Totally.
I didn't think
I see your name in the newspapers, on the TV, on the internet. It's everywhere, on the radio.
One time I was on Alex Jones' show a long time ago, actually, and I did my math wrong on something. I forgot what it was.
Oh, no.
I know. And oh, my God. Not only did I get ripped on Reddit and on the internet, but I got ripped from other countries in different languages.
Wow.
They were ripping me in Japanese. They were in. And so when you say internationally, yeah, that goes both ways.
Okay.
After I do Coast to Coast, man, you should get on Reddit. I made the mistake of getting on Reddit, and after I did Coast to Coast, somebody told me to get on there. Oh my God, it was awful. But you know what I'm gonna?
I won't do it, Ben. I have no interest in that kind of negativity.
You should get on and see what they say about you.
No, I don't really care.
You don't care. I know.
No.
I shouldn't care anyway. I don't really care actually, but it's just interesting. People take liberties, when you're on the radio or you're a public figure. I do all the time too. Like, I remember, I don't really know that. Well, I better not say that. But this one president is mentally retarded. I don't really know that for a fact, but I feel comfortable saying it. You know what I mean? I'm just one guy.
Just one guy?
I'm not gonna.
You sure you can't pick a couple of them?
I'm not gonna. Well, there's a couple. Yeah.
There's probably a couple there, Ben.
Probably a couple. One in particular stands out.
All right.
Like, I don't know he's retarded.
Ben, I don't know why people say the dumbest, meanest things on the internet. It seems like a total lack of self-control. At some point, you would think, maybe I shouldn't send this out.
There's no accountability.
And it's again a lack of self-control.
Self-control.
It's
self-control. It's funny,
something
'cause there's
weird.
a lot of times now that I'm older, I notice there's a lot of times when I want to respond to a YouTube comment or an email, and I write it and then I don't do it.
Right.
Right.
That's normal.
Because
that's what you should do.
Well, that's age. I think that's
wisdom.
Yeah.
Ben.
Well, that comes because when I was younger, I noticed I wouldn't stop as much.
Right.
But now I stop. I'm going, is that really necessary? Do I really need to make that comment?
Well, there are people out there who are old enough, Ben, who should know better, and they don't.
They don't. I know.
There's something wrong with that type of thinking. So while we have the chance, Ben, I'm going to say this. Before you send that nasty text message, or no, not to you, to anybody listening, and for anything, whether you're on Facebook or wherever, you go, I'm going to tell this guy about this president. Just stop. Okay, stop. Take a deep breath and think. Does the world really need this out there?
Do I really? Yeah. Is the world going to be a better place? Am I going to be a better person?
It's not going to be.
Yeah.
So just stop it. Keep it to yourself and just move on.
Count to 5.
Go watch a football game. Go watch cat videos. Go do something that makes you happy. Do something that makes somebody else happy. Stop with that negativity.
There's a lady named Jill Bolte Taylor. Have you heard of her?
No.
Jill Bolte Taylor was a neurophysiologist, a brain doctor, and she studied the language center in the brain. Okay. And she ended up having a stroke. The stroke is when part of the brain dies. She had a stroke in the part of her brain that she had been studying, the language center.
Oh, no.
And she wrote a whole book about it called My Stroke of Insight. And in the book, she talks about what it felt like to have, be able to have language for a certain amount of time. I don't remember if it was minutes or hours, how long it was.
You'd have to use your middle finger more than,
No. That's language, too. She actually went into her right brain from her left brain. And she describes this feeling of spaciousness and expanse when she was in her left brain, and she talks about when she had to go back in her right brain, and when she had to go back in her left brain because for whatever reason she recovered. She said it was like trying to squeeze into this tiny little area, like putting like squeezing into a tight shoe. She couldn't fit. She didn't know how she was going to fit this huge expanse that she was without language into this tiny little body once she had language. And what that told me was a couple things. First of all, and based on what you're saying, is that all of our problems are somehow related to language. What do I mean by that? Like, you don't have to say what everybody's got problems, anxieties, worries, fears, that kind of stuff. Life is not perfect, right?
Right.
So take whatever is bothering you and notice how language is involved with that in terms of how you think about it, how you perceive it, how you describe it, what you're worried about. Can you see how words are involved in your head? Mm-hmm. Like when you have thoughts, there's words, and what this is going to happen, that's going to happen. If you could somehow go away from those words, from that language, you wouldn't have that problem. It would just become a sensation. Sensations in the body are pretty much neutral until they get described or defined in language. And the reason I brought this up about Jill Bolte Taylor is because she also said something very interesting. She said, whatever happens in your life, give it 90 seconds and see if you still care. 90 seconds. Like if you want to yell at somebody or write a nasty note or somebody pushes your button, give it 90 seconds and just see what happens. So no matter when you have an impulse that you want to do, give it 90 seconds. And she even talks about how when you want to buy something, if you want to buy something, give it 90 seconds and see what happens. And that's if you're interested in reading more about that, her name is Jill Bolte Taylor, and the book is My Stroke of Insight.
Give it 90 seconds.
One of the best books I've ever read, and I have multiple copies of it. It's so good.
Give it 90 seconds, see if it still
90
matters.
seconds,
That's the
yes.
smartest thing I've ever said, Ben.
You say some smart things, though.
Well, it's
You say
the few and far between, but every once in a while, Ben, I get lucky. Hey, we better get to these phone calls and text messages,
phone calls.
So let me. What do you want?
90-second rule, by the way.
Text, email, or phone call.
Let's do a phone call.
Okay. Rory, you're in the air.
Rory.
Hey, you guys. Thanks for taking my call.
What's up, Rory?
Yep. Well, after all that, stop, think 90 seconds or 90 hours before you say stuff.
Yeah.
I was just impressed recently with the cost of healthcare. So at the business I work for, I pay a monthly for me, my wife, and one son now that's left is under 26. But the fraction that the company's paying on our behalf, it was shocking.
What are we talking about dollars per month?
I can't say it. It's too crazy.
Is it like many thousands?
Maybe.
Oh, my gosh.
No comment.
Okay,
but
fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's
when I
still
heard
ridiculous.
the number, I knew the company picked up a certain amount. And we got an HSA, which is fantastic, because that gives me a little bit of control.
What did you call it?
HSA, Health Savings Account component.
Okay.
So I've got a high deductible. It's for catastrophic. A lot of it's out of pocket, but I've got an HSA, so I contribute a little to it. The company contributes. But the big chunk that the company's contributing monthly was shocking. So I bring it up because we're going to come to logger jams, and we're going to have revolts that the ACA is failing. I heard a guy today said he's like 66, 7. He's going to have a 40% increase in his Medicare monthly.
Oh my!
And he's on Medicare, a system that, 40%. It's going from high 5s to low 7s per month, and that's a system that he's paid into his entire working life.
Yeah, that's right.
So my point
charity.
is, I mean, what you're talking about, and Doc Wallach said this 30 years ago. He goes, "You better take care of yourself. The system's going to break." But there's going to be a revolt because the money's not there. It's not there. People are going to say, "F it, I'm out. I'm not paying it. They can penalize me. Screw them. I'm out."
There's a big, Rory, and Dave, there's a big issue that people don't talk about, and that's demographics. People aren't having a lot of kids anymore. You remember when we were growing up, Rory and Dave even, like people would have 6 kids, 7 kids routinely,
terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
Today they only have 1 or 2. Those are the people who pay for Social Security, though. That's the way the system's designed. When we, Rory, me and you, and then Dave soon, when we get to a certain age, there's not going to be enough people to pay for Social Security. And that's like probably 10 years away.
Oh, no, Ben.
Right? So, hey, out there, a couple things. We got the answers on 2 levels. Number 1, the supplements you want to take.
Yeah.
So you don't end up on drugs. And that's for anybody who's over the age of 55 or 60. Everybody should be listening to this and get on that Healthy Start Pack. Call us up. Get on the Healthy Start Pack. If you're counting on Social Security and Medicare, that's not going to be happening. And then secondly, the business opportunity. There's a whole business opportunity that you can take here. And it doesn't take a lot. We will help you build your business. We don't talk about this enough, Dave. We should be talking about it more. We will help you build your business. So if you are, number 1, getting older and you're concerned about residual income as you get older, and number 2, you have a love of nutrition, a love of health, a love of helping people, and number 3, you want to participate in nutrition for yourself, is there a better opportunity than the longevity business opportunity, Dave?
Not many.
I don't know of any. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you, Roy, for bringing that up. Anything else, buddy?
No, that was it. I said you're on the air once a week coaching. You're getting university level nutritional lectures.
That's interesting you say that because it's university level, but it's even better because you don't hear this in the university. Universities are bastions of programming. They're centers
They're
of mind
idiots.
control. That's where mind control is. You know, the pharmaceutical companies and the drug companies and the HMOs and the hospitals, etc. They fund the schools. You know, and this all goes back to this whole thing called the Flexner Report. Do you ever hear about the Flexner Report?
No. Tell me about it.
Is Rory still on the call?
No.
So you want me to talk about the Flexner Report? Right
No,
now?
I got another email here.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Just curious to get your perspective on this.
Yes.
I'm 44, and over the last few years, I've gotten a lot of cherry angiomas.
Oh, no. That's not good.
I feel like an Appaloosa.
What?
I don't know what that means. Any thoughts on why or
Yes,
what
I
to
have
do to
totally
stop
have
this
thoughts.
from progressing?
Yes,
also, this
absolutely.
year, I felt I've gained weight without changing anything. So bummed out about that.
Yeah, well, welcome to the club. That's what happens. Yeah, those are both classic signs of insulin resistance.
Oh,
although
no.
the cherry angiomas are little red bumps. They're kind of benign. They're not non-malignant growths of blood vessels. An angioma is oma means body, like carcinoma, body, and angio means blood vessel. So they're little tiny microscopic, or maybe not microscopic because you wouldn't see them, but they're bigger than microscopic, but still very tiny blood vessel growths. So the question is why does that happen? Remember, everything has a reason, right? There's no accidents. The body's doesn't do oopsies. Everything's logical to the body. So, Dave, you're not a healthcare professional, medical person, but let me ask you from a logic perspective, because everything's logical in the body. Everything is logical. So from a logical perspective, why would there be a need? Why would the body perceive a need to grow blood vessels?
To get blood flowing, Ben.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's a sign that the body is attempting to get blood vessels going. And these capillaries, and they're dilated, they're open up. Their cherry angiomas are they're an adaptive response to a lack of oxygen, a lack of nutrition, and toxicity. And those are the only three things that the body adapts to. Malnourishment, lack of oxygen, hypoxia, and toxicity. Those are I don't know if the only, but the three major adaptive triggers that cause all the things that we suffer from, which tells you if you feed the body, you breathe the body, and you detoxify the body, you're going to live a long life. Cherry angiomas are a sign that there's toxicity and there's blood is not circulating properly. And then the second thing he talked about, this person, or I assume it's a guy, but whoever it is in the letter,
It's a female.
is a classic sign of insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is caused by chronically elevated blood sugar, and both elevated insulin, which is what occurs when you have insulin resistance, and elevated blood sugar will clog up the blood and cause the body to feel the need to grow more blood vessels. So what do? A, you treat yourself like a diabetic even if you haven't been diagnosed. So for this gal, get on the healthy blood sugar pack. And I always throw in the Fucoid Z. Whenever I do, the healthy blood sugar pack doesn't have the Fucoid Z, but I always recommend the Fucoid Z. Why? Okay. Because the Fucoid Z is a blood purifier, A. It is a anti-glycemic, which means it lowers blood sugar, B. And C, it helps with a leaky gut. And between all of those three, you will not only improve your insulin response, but you'll also lose weight and likely improve your circulation to the point where you won't have cherry angiomas. And that's how you would deal with cherry angiomas and elevated blood insulin. And that goes back to what I was just saying, how you get little points of bodily breakdown. Now, if she's like most people, and she isn't obviously because she wrote to us, but most people would say, I'm going to go to the dermatologist. And the dermatologist will say, well, there's no known cause for that. It's just genetics. You know, there's no reason. What I just told you, Dave, nobody's going to say that, what I just told you, as logical as it is. So if you go to a dermatologist for that, they're not going to go upstream. They're not going to look. They're not going to ask you about your weight gain. They're not going to connect your insulin resistance to your cherry angiomas. They're going to, this person likely, if she wasn't working with us, she would go to the dermatologist for a cherry angioma. She'd go to probably her family practitioner for her excess weight problem. And sure enough, if this is a woman and she's 44, she's setting herself up for very bad menopause or perimenopause. And When she goes to the OBGYN for her menopausal symptoms, they're not going to connect it to the cherry angiomas, and they're not going to connect it to the insulin resistance. And if she's 44, and I don't want to say anything really terrible, but the fact is she's at higher risk for other things that affect women at the as they age, including, God forbid, breast cancer and accelerated aging of the skin and gallbladder problems. These are all things that happen to women as they get older if they don't address these kinds of issues at the age of 44, and you're not going to be able to address these kinds of issues by going to a doctor.
Dang, Ben, you know, when we're kids, the scary stories that we hear, you know, are about monsters under the bed and Bigfoot running around. But, man, when you get to be middle-aged and you hear somebody saying stuff like that, holy crap.
Yes, there's real monsters.
Holy smokes.
Yes, monsters.
Good luck sleeping tonight, whoever that was.
Well, no, but the good news is, yes, we do, to a certain extent, you know, we live under a sort of Damocles where they could just come, you know, dropping down out of the sky and chop our head off at any moment. Right. There's a funny story. There was, first of all, Dave, never say what else can go wrong. Ever. Never say that, okay?
Right, yeah.
There's a story in Denver where there was a plane, there's an airport, a small airport near the city, and this plane took off and it crashed into a neighborhood and hit a house. And the house caught on fire, and nobody died, but the house it was a terrible thing. And I always imagine the guy who owned the house sitting at the dinner table looking at his bills going, what else can go wrong?
Jeez.
And you never know when that plane is coming out of the sky. So don't ever say what else.
Don't ever say that. 218-5726. I have a text here, Ben, and it is about cookies.
Okay.
Are you for or against cookies, Ben?
I'm against cookies.
Okay, well, maybe not this one. They want to know what you think about these sourdough cookies, and here are the ingredients. They say that I must read these to you so that you can give them a fair...
okay, let me read them.
Organic einkorn flour.
Okay, that's interesting.
Organic raw cane sugar.
Okay.
Grass-fed butter.
Okay.
Chocolate chips.
Okay.
Sourdough starter. Pasture-raised eggs.
Okay.
Organic vanilla extract.
Okay.
Sea salt and baking soda.
Not too shabby. I would say the cane sugar is just sugar. It's not probably great. I don't know how much is in there. But the einkorn wheat, do you know what einkorn wheat is?
No, I've never heard of it.
It is really, really interesting. It's very tasty, incredibly tasty. You have to buy it pretty much in a health food store, Whole Foods. You're not going to find it in an ordinary grocery store, I don't think. But it's very, very nutritionally dense, especially in protein. It's one of the highest protein grains. It is from a historical standpoint, they call it the mother of wheat. And there's a really interesting history. It's like one of the first grains that was ingested back when we were first ingesting grains in the Sumerian days 10,000 years ago, probably even before, not before Sumeria, probably when we were hunter-gatherers 12,000 years ago. It was the first of the wheats. It's before wheat got cultivated and genetically modified, did all the things they did to wheat. And apparently, according to anthropologists, it's like a 30,000-year-old product. Can you imagine?
Wow.
30,000 years ago.
Jeez.
What were people like 30,000? Even do you know how long?
They're probably bored because there was no TV,
there
no
was no television,
internet,
no iPhones or anything
nothing.
like that. So how old do you think, or how many years ago do you think the first human beings? There's records of the first human beings. How old?
250,000 years.
Yeah, a couple 100,000 years.
Uh-huh.
That's a long time. Can you imagine what people looked like back then? I can. My mother-in-law. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
That's good, Ben. I like that. I'm going to use that in my next comedy.
Okay.
My mother-in-law is a caveman.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
That was from
Sorry
Ben
about that.
Fuchs.
I don't have a mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law is a caveman. I like it, Ben.
All right.
All right. 831-479-1080, 218-5726. I have another call here, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick them up hot, and we'll see what happens, Ben. They might cuss. Hopefully they don't. If they do, we'll hang up on them immediately.
Nope. Oh, you usually screen. No screening here.
No screen. Not this one, Ben.
Are you ask if they're friend or foe?
We're asking for trouble. That's what we're asking for, Ben.
Are you a friend of the show or a foe of the show?
We'll find out. This caller ends in 70. Can we get your first name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, David, you know it's me from Campbell.
Oh, yes.
I know this guy.
It's me from Campbell.
What's this guy's name? Who's this guy?
Craig.
Craig. What's up, Craig?
Hey, guys. You're talking about bread, cycolin, and sprouted wheat. You know that famous company that sells that?
There's what's it called? The bread. It starts with an E. What's that called? Ezekiel bread.
Yeah, is it the prophet Ezekiel? Yeah.
The famous Ezekiel bread. It's first of all, just because you sprout something doesn't mean it's completely good for you, but it's certainly way, way better than ordinary bread. When you take a seed, right? Grain's a seed, first of all. And when you take a seed, you got a big problem here. Because seeds don't release their nutrients. They don't release their nutrients as easily as other sources, like ordinary vegetables, for example. The ordinary vegetables, you can eat them and you get the nutritional value, but with a seed, you don't. With a grain, you don't. And so grains really only got popular about 10, 15, 20,000 years ago, even though, corn was a little earlier, but most grains didn't really become popular until we figured out how to crush them. Because you got to crush the grain. And that's really where you run into problems, is once you crush the grain, that seed, which is filled with nutrition, all of a sudden is not as nutritionally valuable. The nutritional value of a seed is really when it's sprouted. Because when you sprout a seed, which is kind of dormant, it's asleep, when you sprout it with water and sunlight, all of a sudden that seed awakens. And all that nutrition that's locked up in the grain or locked up in the seed is released. And that's not just true with sprouted wheat or sprouted grain, but also sprouted broccoli or any vegetable sprouts for that matter that you buy in, you go to the health food stores, ever see those little dishes of sprouts they have, or not dishes, but they have like cartons of sprouts. Have you ever seen those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd buy them.
They're incredibly valuable. But two things about them. First of all, they turn that dormant seed into one of, maybe gram for gram, the most powerful food on the planet is a sprout. Arguably, the algae are up there too, but sprouts are super powerful. So you've turned that seed into something powerful. That's first of all. But second of all, this is really interesting. The sprouts are very perishable. They get moldy. In fact, that's a big problem with the sprouts, is the mold that's associated with them. Because everything likes that nutrition in a sprout. Those sprouts contain the nutrition for life. All living entities thrive on those sprouts, on sprouted grains and sprouted vegetables and sprouted seeds, whatever. Now, the sprouted seeds are among the most powerful foods you could eat. And so Ezekiel bread, which is made from sprouted bread, contains those sprout nutrients. Now, I think they heat it so you don't get there's some loss, but it's way better than ordinary grains, to answer your question, or ordinary bread.
Well, okay, they advertise flourless. Is that true?
I wonder if they're calling
bread,
they may be referring to the fact that the sprouted grains don't make flour. That I don't know the answer to that. If they say it's flourless, they're probably thinking that when they sprout the grains, somehow they're not flour. I don't really know technically the answer to that, Craig.
Well, do you buy their bread?
No, I don't
you
buy
like
bread.
it.
I like it. You got to keep it in the freezer. It's kind of a pain. So I'm not a big bread guy anyway. But
well, when you buy bread, what do you get?
When I buy bread, if I buy bread, Wonder Bread. It builds a body in 100 ways.
Wonder Bread.
Yes, Wonder Bread.
Are you kidding me? Wonder Bread.
I don't even know if they still make Wonder Bread, do they?
Yeah,
they do.
I don't know.
They do?
Yeah.
You know why they called it Wonder Bread? It's so funny, the marketing aspect. They called it Wonder Bread because they put nutrients in there. They took all the nutrients out in order to make the bread, and then they threw some nutrients back, and they called it Wonder Bread. Amazing bread. Magical bread. No, I don't eat bread, but once in a while I'll get bakery bread. Like, go to a bakery.
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
There you go.
Okay,
Thank you, Craig. Good to hear from you.
Thank you for the call, Craig. 831-479-1080. Now, what should someone do if they can't get enough of Pharmacist Ben Fuchs? They want to hear you, Ben. They want to talk with you about this.
Are you making that up?
No, Ben, they get those questions all. Dude, we run replays of this show on various radio stations, and we get tons of phone calls during the replays, Ben. They want to hear from Ben Fuchs.
Mineral Ways on various radio stations?
Yes. Don't you know, Ben?
No, you're kidding.
Jeez, Ben. Tell you what, dude. You think I'm kidding you, Ben?
I think you're yanking my chain.
Check your email.
Okay, I will.
Check your email.
If we're on multiple stations, you're saying we get calls. If they want to hear more from me,
yes,
I do. After I do this call, the Mineral Way, I do a Zoom call.
Okay.
With AJ, right?
Yes.
So with AJ and Becca, I do a Zoom call, and it's on. If you go to Oh, jeez, I got to send whoever's a link. But we'll get you a link through Dave for next week if you want.
Okay.
And then also Fridays, I do a Zoom call called Daily with Doc, dailywithdoc.zoom.com. Or no, dailywithdoc.com, just Daily with Doc. And then also, better look that up. And then also, MZ's going to help us, right?
Yes,
MZ?
that's what I'm saying, Ben. Check your email. I just sent you something.
Okay. It's dailywithdoc.zoom.com, dailywithdoc.zoom.com. And that's every Friday from 1 to 2 Mountain, which is 12 to 1 Pacific.
And then Mr. Fancy Pants is also on Coast to Coast with George Norrie,
Mr.
Ben.
Fancy
Gosh,
Pants.
man.
Do you
Boy,
know
you're
this is my
big time.
12th? I'm big time. It's not big time. This is my 12th year of Coast to Coast.
Wow, Ben.
12 years. And speaking of 12 years and how ridiculous it is that 12 years goes by so fast, isn't that true? How ridiculous it
Totally.
But you know what else? This hour goes by fast.
It does, Ben.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
Like we got 2 calls. What did we do? We just
I don't know.
babbled on? Was it me babbling?
I don't know.
Was it me just talking and talking?
I don't know, Ben.
Diarrhea of the mouth?
I don't know. But it went by fast, Ben. You're right about that.
They go by fast.
Yes.
Are we really on other stations? Seriously, don't.
We're working on Ben. Yes, dude.
Working on it.
Check your email, Ben. These take steps, and the first step is the one that I just sent you. Did you check your email yet?
I'm checking now.
Okay.
Me and you are going to be. We're going to be popular. Oh, there's a clock. Is that what you're showing me?
That's what I'm showing you, Ben.
Oh, you're not. Okay, the clock.
Yes.
I got the dreaded clock.
The dreaded clock. All right, Ben.
Okay.
Well, that's the first step, Ben. So we're going to start working with that.
Thank you. I get the message. I got the message loud and clear. Thank you,
All right, Ben. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
The Mineral Way. You can catch us live here every Monday afternoon, 5 till 6 p.m. Pacific. If you want to give us a phone call, it's 831-479-1080. Text messages, 831-218-5726. Questions at themineralway.com with your emails. Any of those ways will work. We are here live Monday, 5 till 6 p.m. If you're listening at any other time, it most likely is a replay. But again, you can call that number, send a text, or email, and we'll get to your question during the next show. You're listening to The Mineral Way. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, Dave Michaels. We are going to land this bird. And remember, there is a better way. The Mineral Way. Looking for a better way to take charge of your health and maybe even your income? Then listen up, because themineralway.com is your one-stop destination for world-class longevity products and a powerful business opportunity. At themineralway.com, you can order the same high-quality supplements featured on the Mineral Way podcast, trusted by thousands and shipped to customers across the U.S. and other countries around the world. And these aren't just any products. They're designed to support energy, clarity, mobility, all the things that help you live better, feel better, and stay active no matter your age. But here's where it gets really exciting. You can also become a distributor. When you enroll through themineralway.com, your sponsors, also known as your upline, are none other than pharmacist Ben Fuchs and me, Dave Michaels. That means you're not on your own. You'll get expert training, a full library of support materials, and your very own professional website all ready to go. You can run your entire business from your home computer, smartphone, or landline. No employees, no building to rent, no overhead, just you helping others, building a business, and creating a future. And if you're the kind of person who listens to the show, you already get it. You care about your health, you care about people. That makes you the perfect candidate to start your own business. Imagine setting your own hours, working with a team that wants to see you succeed, and waking up each day knowing that you're making a difference for yourself and for others. Plus, you can go at your own pace. Whether you want to earn a little extra on the side or go full time, you're in control. No pressure, just real support and real opportunity. And here's the kicker. It's your business. You can pass it on to a family member or even sell it down the road. So whether you're looking to improve your health, build something meaningful, or add new income stream, it's all waiting for you. There is a better way. themineralway.com. That's themineralway.com. Check it out today.